Link's Awakening was the first handheld Zelda game, and it set the bar high for handhelds after.
It strayed away from the traditional Zelda formula of fighting Ganon and saving Zelda.
It introduced us to a new land, Koholint Island, which was our first adventure non-Hyrule.
It also presented us with nightmares instead of bosses to fight at the end of each dungeon.
With the system limitations of its day, it was still able to pack in 9 incredible dungeons.
And introduce us to one of our favorite Zelda items, the Rock's Feather.
This is Two Guys Playing Zelda, and this is our Link's Awakening dungeon ranking.
Last on our list is the Colored Dungeon, which was an optional dungeon added for the Game Boy Color release of Link's Awakening.
And that's really why I kind of came in last, because it's an optional dungeon, you don't have to do it, it doesn't follow the structure of the other dungeons in this game.
Yeah, you kind of like, you don't get a dungeon item in the middle of the dungeon like other Zeldas.
You do get the tunic at the end, but like, you know,
nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It helps you throughout the game, but it really kind of makes the game a little bit too easy, in my opinion.
It does. Now, there are a couple of nice things about this dungeon. First and foremost, I was getting to hear that Legend of Zelda.
Is there actually more than one? Go ahead.
Yeah, that Legend of Zelda dungeon theme in the background just sounds great. And also, I like the way they implemented the use of color in puzzles. It's the only Link's Awakening dungeon that does that.
It's just a fantastic name. I don't know how they ever came up with Color Dungeon as the name, but like this puzzle right here, I really did like this puzzle. It was tough, but it was a fun puzzle.
And this boss fight, I will say, I actually really enjoyed it. I liked using the Rock's Feather to jump up and attack him and change the colors as you weaken.
It's like you're Air Jordan playing him right there. Well, there's a key. Well, no, there's a key over there. Well, wait a second. There's also another key over here somewhere.
And we still don't have enough keys to get through this dungeon.
Oh my god, there's just way too many keys in this place.
And I don't care how many times you've played this game or how many keys you think you have in your inventory, you never have enough.
And then it seems like the key that you need is in the, like, you don't have any keys, and the key you need is behind the door that's not been unlocked yet.
I mean, it does crack me up that when we first started doing Two Guys Playing Zelda, this is one of the dungeons I mentioned was one of my least favorite in the entire series.
Now, we do get a good item, though, in this dungeon. Like, we get the Pegasus boots, which is
good item.
Huge in every Zelda game. Like, it allows us, not so much to get through new places, but it allows us to get there faster.
Which is so nice when you've got a huge overworld like this that you're dealing with.
And now, man, I just love this room right there. That was absolutely a cool room, but that key is actually pointless in this game.
It's right before the boss.
Yeah, it's right before the boss, and you don't need a key to get into the boss, but this boss right here, I actually did like this boss. Like,
it gave me some fits.
In a game that's very easy bosses, it was actually kind of a tough boss.
Now, the Bottle Grotto, which you can expect from an earlier dungeon, was just a very straightforward, very simple dungeon, and that kind of knocked it down in our rankings quite a bit.
But I do love the look of this place, like the floor design right there, the blue walls. It kind of just felt different, like the looks of it, than the other dungeons in this game.
And when you have these 2D dungeons, especially these earlier, simpler ones, any aesthetic like that jumps out, it just makes it a little more memorable.
It's just a clever name. I mean, obviously you see the bottles like laying around everywhere. I don't know why they didn't call it Jar Grotto. But, you know, like, I'm not big on the item. I mean, I know it's important for this dungeon, but get a bracelet, nah.
It does also open up a lot more areas in the overworld that we can finally get to, though, with the bracelet.
Yeah. Now, I do love this part right here, this little puzzle of having to kill enemies in order. I didn't like it the first time I played, but I did like it later on, and I played through it a couple more times.
Now, this boss fight was a little bit different. I know it looks a little goofy for being called a nightmare, but the idea of not just using your sword, but also throwing it against the wall was well done.
One word. 2 words. It's actually 2 words. 2 words. Rock's Feather. That's what really makes this part, this place stand out. Now, usually in most of our dungeon rankings, we don't have the very first dungeon very high.
That's true.
Just the item in this place just kind of took it up a couple spots.
It is one of our favorite Zelda items, and I wish it was I wish it would have been used in more of the games than just a couple of the handhelds. But getting the Rock's Feather, just adding jumping over pits.
Like, we really haven't been able to jump. Like, even in the 3D Zelda games, there's not a lot of jumping ability that you have, really.
Plus, this introduced kind of the side-scrolling underground areas. It's a little bit of a throwback to some of the Mario games, especially with the Goomba.
And when you first started playing this game, like, you weren't expecting to see those side screens, so it was just a nice... it's not nice compared to like Zelda 2 nice, because it kind of reminds you of that, but it was just nice to kind of throw in that whole Mario aspect of it.
And I really like the mini-boss fight with that big rolling bar coming at you all the time, but that doesn't compare to the main boss fight.
Yeah, and like both of them, I'm kind of like, I hate them in Link to the Past, but I'm glad they brought them back.
Now, one thing about Face Shrine that really makes it stand out more than a lot of other dungeons is the theme.
Oh yeah, it's definitely awesome. It kind of has like a whole creepy theme.
It does.
I feel like it almost belongs in Majora's Mask. Now, I don't know how a 2D dungeon would do Majora's Mask, but it kind of has that feel to it.
But it is one of my favorite themes from almost any Zelda game, and it really does elevate this dungeon because, let's be honest, the item we get in this dungeon
Oh, it's horrible.
isn't that
It's
great.
horrible. I mean, I don't like getting the power bracelet in a dungeon in the first place.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be in the overworld. But yeah, then to get an upgraded power bracelet, that really took this thing down a couple spots.
I will say I really love the area of the game that this dungeon's in, though. The whole like north and south face.
Oh,
together.
yeah,
Really starts to fill in some of the mystery and backstory of Koholint Island. And I think
One of
it's
the
just
best
a fun
parts of the
area.
game is when you go to the South Shrine first before you even get here.
Oh, it's awesome.
It kind of gives, like you said, that huge backstory.
Yeah.
And you really get the first part of, is this a dream or is it not a dream?
Now this boss fight, though, it fits the dungeon being a huge face, but man, is it an easy boss
Oh, it's just
fight.
way too easy. Like the name, like you said, it's kind of cool, but just way too easy of a boss fight. The water of this place really just made it stand out, and that's the reason why I ranked this dungeon so high. I mean, just in a 2D game where like a lot of the dungeons felt very similar, this one just had like a certain kind of different beauty to it.
It does, and it's one of the very few water dungeons in any Zelda game you'll ever hear us say we actually somewhat enjoyed.
Yeah,
But I think the water
there's
puzzles...
a couple, but no, not many.
But I think the water puzzles were really well implemented, and it's one of the first dungeons in this game where we actually do a lot of backtracking because the dungeon item opens up previous areas and previous rooms.
It's really the first time we had gotten to flippers that I can remember in a dungeon, I think.
I think so too. It seems like we always buy them or earn them in like Zora's caves or something like that.
It was just cool seeing those in a dungeon. Like, man, this is going to like allow me to do a lot more in the game.
It does, and especially like
I don't like that mean guy right there though.
But the flippers allow you like that little simple scene right there where the key falls
Yeah,
through the
that
water,
was cool. That was cool.
and you have to go diving in after. I thought was really well done.
Now this boss right here, the easiest boss in any Zelda game in history.
The Catfish's Maw is where the dungeons are really starting to get a little more complex with more backtracking and more complicated puzzles.
Well, maybe for you, I mean, the first dungeon's kind of complex for me, in every Zelda game. But I mean, I do understand, I do agree with what you're saying. Now, one of the main things I love about this dungeon is actually the mini-boss. It's not really a mini-boss, it's kind of an enemy throughout, but just having him killed 4 times was really cool.
I thought it was a nice little twist on the typical, kill the mini-boss, get the dungeon item. This time, you kill him the first time, you get the treasure chest, and it's empty.
And then you get the hook shot. How awesome is the hook shot? Not in this game, just in every single Zelda game.
It is awesome in every game, but I feel like it's really overpowered almost in this game. It'll hook on anything and just...
It kills enemies easily, too.
Yes.
And like, I mean, in a 2D game, the hook shot, it makes you fucking get to more places easier than I guess you can in 3D games.
It does. And even though you saw us in a little bit of water right there, for being the Catfish's Maw and being out in the middle of the lake, there's very little water.
I agree. I thought there'd be
dungeon,
more water. Now, this boss right here, I actually do like this boss. It was a little bit tougher, but it was kind of a fun boss fight. Now, Turtle Rock is actually a dungeon I did not expect to be this high. It was really confusing. It was really complex.
Yes.
You wouldn't believe how frustrated I got. But when thinking about it, I mean, it actually was an awesome dungeon.
It was, and there's a lot of little things that go into that, and one of my favorites is getting to go back and refight a lot of the mini-bosses from previous dungeons.
I like the whole fire aspect, because it reminds me a lot of the last levels in Mario.
It's like
where
Bowser's
you're
Castle.
going on your way to Bowser. Like, I love that aspect of it.
And I love getting to pop outside the dungeon just for a few seconds there and see the ocean.
Yeah, see the ocean,
Oh.
yes. We always love popping outside a dungeon during the dungeon.
It is. Now, this mini-boss gave me some fits.
It's Muhammad Ali out there, man.
But it's so worth it to beat him and get the magic rod. One of the best items in the
so
game.
powerful. I mean, compared to Boomerang, it actually was very comparable. But I mean, those 2 items right there, you can destroy anything in this game.
Even the game tells you when you get it, burn everything.
Burn,
baby, burn.
Now, I did like that little ice thing right there at the end, but this boss right here, just way too easy.
Just such a disappointment at the end of the final dungeon. Now, this was a no-brainer when we started this ranking. Eagles Tower was going to be number 1 from the get-go.
It's awesome.
It's a great dungeon. Like, first of all, it's a great area of the map, up in the mountains and the top.
It's just so cool looking. Like, you have that ocean, like, back there. Like, that this is, like, it's a tower.
Yeah.
You feel good before you even come into this place.
And the concept of a multi-level dungeon in this game...
First time we had it in this game.
And not only is it cool, like, to use that to solve the puzzles, like falling from the previous floors, but collapsing these pillars to make the dungeon fall down.
And then just that cinematic right here. I mean, that's just like, I mean, for a 2D game, like on a very limited system, that was just an awesome cinematic right there.
And a nice little touch I liked about this mini boss, we don't really kill him. He comes back to battle us actually in the final boss fight.
Yeah, I mean, that was really cool. Like, you never see that really in a 2D game. I just like how they just kind of, a little switch up right there and made it good.
And fighting this final boss outdoors on top of the tower, one of the toughest bosses in the game, if not the toughest.
We kept on knocking you off, and we knocked you off, it would restart. So kind of a pain, but still very fun.
As you can tell from our individual rankings, this is one of the hardest group rankings we've had to put together.
We never had one this different. I mean, we've had a lot where we've had like the same, like 9 through 5 have been all the same. And this one, I mean, except for number 1, it's completely different. But hey, if you're going to agree on one of them, it might as well be number 1, right?
Man, the rest of them are all over the place, though. It was tough.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post Zelda videos weekly.
And follow us on Twitter, where we tweet out Zelda content every day.
The video on the left will take you to Hick's top 10 Zelda dungeons, and the video on the right will take you to our Twilight Princess dungeon ranking.
And to see all of our dungeon rankings, click on the text at the bottom.